Go figure. Okay. Three, two, one. Welcome back, everyone. Alan Gwynn here, and today I am with Kara Hollis. She is actually a Randall County Master Gardener, and we are here to talk about gardening, getting ready for the winter, and how to prepare for the winter, and anything else that we can think of. So, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Okay.
Nice, warm. It warmed up really nice, so
Yeah.
that's good.
It's that time of year where we have the cold mornings and the
Yeah.
nice warm afternoons.
Yes.
Okay, so can you kind of tell me what being a master gardener is about?
Being a master gardener is about education primarily. We have several demonstration garden beds that we have throughout the city, and then we do a lot of education for the community. We go into the schools. We have at least one official garden that we've worked with Carver Elementary, and we help them get a sensory garden kind of put together over the summer, which was really nice. So it's just about education, educating the public, serving the public. That's the best thing I think about Master Gardeners is that we have hearts and we're willing to go out and serve others and do things to beautify Amarillo and Canyon, but also just serve the community.
Oh, that is awesome. So, what does it take to become a master gardener?
To be a master gardener, you have to go through classes. It's through the Texas A&M, and you have to do classes, book learning. You also have to do, let's see, we have programs for those interns, we call them, and there might be a program on water usage or irrigation or xeriscaping or roses or, there's Texas Superstar plants that we try to promote. There's also, I can't think of the name right now, but just a lot of book learning. And then in addition to, I've forgotten how many hours of book learning there are. You get those done, and then you also do volunteer hours. So you go out into the community and you work on the gardens, or you work on the school, go help the schools. We have a program that goes out and teaches fourth grade at Reeves Hinger in Canyon. And just serve. We have library programs. You can get hours from that. You can get hours from working in the garden. You can get hours from lots of different ways. But that first year is pretty tough to get all the book hours and the volunteer hours, but so worth it. So worth it in the end, because then you're a master gardener and then you can start serving in the community more.
Oh, okay, but once you get your master gardener thing, you don't have any excuses if you kill something, right?
Right. Everything grows when you're a master gardener.
Yes.
Not really.
Well, you guys also have a master gardener's sale in the spring,
Yes.
don't you? At the
Yeah.
botanical gardens.
It moved from the botanical gardens a few years ago. We've been doing it at the research center here in Amarillo, the Texas A&M Research Center. That's where all of our meetings are held, and that's really where we kind of serve out of physically.
Okay.
But since they've built the new research center on campus at WT, then now we're going to be really housed out of there, because that building is going to close down, and it's for sale in the whole 9 yards. So we're not sure where that plant sale is going to be this year, but we will find out, and I can tell you more about that next time.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's
But
great, because it's a great thing. My wife and I have been
is.
to it many, many times, and
It's so cool.
Yeah.
And we have everything. We have house plants and things that go in the yards in pots, and we have vegetables and herbs and anything. I learned that there's a new, to me, variety of jalapeno called a nada-peno, which is a jalapeno that isn't hot.
yeah.
So I didn't know about it.
Yeah, my wife and I have actually grown those, and
Yeah.
we've gotten some from the Master Gardener
Yeah.
thing, and they're called fulipenos or
Okay.
culipenos, You know, they've been
okay.
out for a few years, and they are
Yeah.
really nice because
Good.
you get the flavor without the heat.
Yeah,
You know, I like the heat
that's,
myself, but
yeah.
not everybody does.
Everybody does.
Okay, so now we kind of have a background
Okay.
a little bit here. So we're
Let
go.
me let me
Yes.
interrupt and say one thing I did forget. We do have a new class of the Master Gardeners that are starting in January, and you need to come to an informational class beforehand, which is there's some dates. You can find it on our Facebook page, but it's November 15th, Saturday, December 13th, or January 6th. So
Okay.
so anyway,
Very good. We'll
thank
get
you.
that out there. Yeah. So uh, we're obviously well into fall now,
Mm-hmm.
and we've even had a couple of freezes. One of them a pretty hard freeze.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the things that people like me, or that don't know any better, can do to protect some plants so that they will come back after the winter?
Okay. Well, the one of the things that I was thinking about as I was preparing is that gardening is just one big experiment. Every year, it's just one big experiment, and sometimes things that grew really great last year won't grow, or this person can really grow this, and this person just doesn't have the knack for it. So it's just a grand experiment, I like to say.
It really is.
So, one of the things that you can do, and most people don't have a greenhouse or any way to protect. And so, the way to protect what you have right now, and we have to talk about annuals and perennials when we talk about this, because those annuals are only going to live for that one season, and then they're pretty much spent and done. But your perennials are going to come back. So you can prep the soil. The soil is critical. A soil test is going to be critical. You can talk to Randall County Extension to find out how to get that soil test. And again, this is the perfect time to prepare for next year. But I like to lay down a thin layer of compost if you can, or if you don't have compost and can't get it, then leaf mulch or something like that. This isn't to fertilize really, but it's to set the plant up for success next year, where it can really grow and establish, because that's what the winter is for. They go dormant and they grow down. The tree roots grow down and they establish everything under the soil, and then in spring everything comes back to life. So I like to lay down just a little bit of compost if I have it. If you have friends that have chickens or animals, you can go get that manure. The thing with manure, you don't get it hot. It's got to be composted manure, that it's not fresh and hot. It's been composting for a little bit. Put that down, and then put down a 3 or 4 inch layer of leaves, straw, something like that, that'll protect those plants underneath the ground from that. We have such severe changes. Instead of it being 25 all winter, it's going to be 25 and then 80 and then 0, and then you're going to get rain, and then you're not going to have any rain. So it really helps protect the ground. And if we take our cues from nature, that's what they do that's what happens in the forest, is the leaves fall, the pine needles fall, and then it covers that ground to get it ready, holds in the moisture, and it'll protect those plants
Okay,
that are in our zone.
Okay, yeah, that's something I've noticed even in the summer, is having that layer of mulch
Yes.
really goes a long ways to keeping moisture in the ground. So very, very good ideas right there. What about any fall fertilizing versus maybe midwinter fertilizing?
I looked at that because that was something that I was thinking of as well. And for several years, I thought, okay, no fertilizer in the fall, because you don't want to stimulate the plant to grow. And that's kind of what fertilizer does. In the spring, it kind of wakes everything up. You give it a good water, and we're off to the races, with the growing. But, and I may be a master gardener, but I'm not an expert. We need to get Dr. Soil on here. But I like to just put that thin layer of compost down, and then just let that work kind of all summer. I'm sure that there's more specifics on things to specifically fertilize now, and but in April is really when everything you want to kind of start really putting that fertilizer on. From my knowledge base, I'm sure there's somebody else that knows a little bit more.
Well, our average last freeze is usually April 18th to the 20th, somewhere around there. So that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, yeah, and like for trimming roses, you don't want to trim roses right now. I know that's not a fertilizer question, but you want to trim those roses back like in February, early February, so that you don't shock them, because that's some plants can be easily shocked, and then they go into winter, and then they're kind of really stressed out. So wait until they're all dormant, and then trim your trees and.
Okay, yeah, I've
roses.
actually had I'm a big rose fan.
Oh, okay.
I've got probably about 15 different types of roses around my house, and
That's
I've really been struggling the last few years.
Oh, yeah.
It just seems like nothing wants to grow good the last couple of years, but I have noticed that my roses will be trying to leaf out all the way into January sometimes.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I do. I wait usually till mid or late February to trim them up, and then just cross my fingers.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and they get so confused here because we do have, we'll have January, we'll have a high day, and that's what really gets us with that late freeze is, it'll freeze and then it'll warm up, and then like the apricot tree, all the plants think, oh, we're done,
Yeah, summer's here.
and then they get hit with that last one. I saw a cute meme of two daffodils coming, trying to come up in the snow and everything, and they're just blowing. Blowing their leaves off and everything. And one is standing there real happy, and the other one says, "I told you it was too early."
Yeah.
So we gotta wait.
Well, we've had snow in May before
Oh,
here, so yeah, we have a really wonky 4 seasons here, sometimes in one day.
Yeah, and the zone for in this area is 6B or 7A. Some people go by the 6B just to be careful, and others go with that 7A. So check the zones and make sure that everything is good for this area.
Oh, okay, very good idea. So I do have a very specific question here. It wasn't in my list. I just came up with this when you were talking about prepping the soil. I kind of live in the western Olson area,
Okay.
which is in a lake bottom.
Oh, okay.
So our soil is very clay oriented, especially in the grassy areas. Is there any kind of a special additive that you can start adding to your yards and your gardens and everything to start maybe transforming some of that layer of clay soil to something more amenable to pretty plants?
To be not get the pickaxe out? Yeah.
Yeah.
One year my husband got the pickaxe out and was digging, in
You have
dirt
to.
For me, yeah. But yeah, the best thing that you can do for that is to get a soil test. And then the best way to do that is go to the extension office and talk to them there. There's a little bag you can get. Also, for the sample itself, you need to go to different parts of your yard and collect some soil. I back up. Some people, there's a couple different schools of thought on that. Some people take a soil sample from a specific area to make sure that they get what needs to be amended in that specific area. Some people take several soil samples, put them all in a bucket, mix it up, put one soil sample in the bag and send that off. And then they kind of take an average and do it everywhere. But that's really the best way because, one person will say, put this in, one person will say, put that in, one person says, no, we got to do it the other way. So the best way is just to get a soil test and get that off. They'll mail it down to College Station and they'll give you a complete readout of everything that needs to be changed. My favorite is to compost. I have my compost in a tractor tire. I come from a long line of farmers, and that's what we had available, and so that's what we started planting in. And it's really great because you can put stuff, you can put the soil down, and then the compost, which is banana peels, apple peels, onion skin, anything.
All your leftover veggies.
Yeah, that anything that doesn't have fat or grease or, anything like that. Old flower stems and stalks and things like that. And then I am a huge proponent of straw. Once I found straw, it was a big game changer for me. And then I put down straw, and then I just go dump my compost bucket in there, and then the little bugs and the microbes and all the things break that down, and then I have my compost to put on my beds. And it's the perfect soil additive for everything. So, and you can do it, right there. You can build fancy compost bins. They have buckets that you turn, but you can use that, and that's what's worked best for me.
Okay, well, that makes sense because it's all 100% natural. It's what these plants have, for millions of years, have been designed to use. Okay.
Yeah, and it's a more organic method. I know there's different views of, kind of how people approach that, but it's a more organic method, and then it just goes right back into the soil where it came from. So it works out really well.
All right. Very good advice right there. Now, some people, like myself, we have got, we went and purchased a standalone greenhouse. I take it down in the spring and put it up in the fall, and we put everything in there. What are your thoughts on using one of those? Because we've actually had really good success. And I mean, we've got bougainvilleas and stuff that we've had for 20 years now that we've managed to keep alive because of that.
Any way that we can keep plants alive in the panhandle of Texas, I think is a great thing. I have a friend who she pulls hers out, unrolls it, puts it in the backyard, puts all of her plants in there, and keeps it warm enough that the plants grow and does great. Some plants need what they call a cold stratification. House plants and things like that, like your bougainvillea, your aloe vera, if you had a lemon tree or, something like that.
Have one of those too.
You can put, that's cool. You could put that in there, and those are all things that can't tolerate, those freezing temperatures. And so that's perfect for them. And then for seed starting in the spring, you can put those in there as well and start those. But some seeds and plants have to have a cold season to survive and to the seeds to germinate, or like for example an apple tree, they have to have so many hours of cold, but before they'll make an apple for you next year.
I never knew that.
So that's why there's so many different varieties, and they keep changing and stuff. So so it really depends on, you have to know the plant, what the plant needs. Everything shouldn't go in the greenhouse because some things they need that cold. Some seeds, even people will say, well, you need to put them in the freezer or the refrigerator for so many weeks so that they'll germinate.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, so that's another reason some people say, well, the stupid seed didn't germinate. Well, it's got to have a cold season. So
Okay.
again, we take our cue from nature. If if the wildflowers drop their seeds in August, then we should probably follow suit. And anything we want to come up in the spring, go ahead and put them out in August and let them have that winter
Okay, now I
cold
did know that, but
stratification.
we got a big old basket full of wildflower seeds from the wildflower seeds farm down there by
Okay.
Fredericksburg.
Okay.
And it says that in there. It says, be sure to
Okay.
put these down in the fall because they need to
Okay.
sit there all winter
Yeah.
to come up. You
Yeah.
can't just throw them out,
Yeah.
in the spring and they'll come up.
Yeah.
So, and bluebonnets, you have to scarify the seeds,
I was just thinking about that because in the wild when they drop, the sand rubs on them. I mean, I don't know how many years it takes them to actually come up. I don't know.
Well, I'm not sure
pretty
either,
cool.
but I did watch a video one time where this lady had a bunch of bluebonnet seeds and she had a little square pan that the bottom of it was sandpaper.
Okay.
And then she got another piece of sandpaper and she put all those seeds in there and she just gently just kind of rolled it around between two pieces of sandpaper.
Yeah.
And she said the seed shells are so thick that a lot of times they will not come up. You have to thin them out a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
I was like, well, Mother Nature, she's...
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yes, all the little teeny tiny things that have to happen for one little seed, one bluebonnet to come up is just fascinating to me.
It really is. And it's our state flower and it's so hard to get them to grow
Yep.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the closest I've seen them is Kittiquay and Vernon.
Okay.
I've seen them in Vernon. I've seen them in Kittiquay and Turkey. But that's the closest, other than people that intentionally planted them here in Amarillo.
That's interesting.
Okay, so what else can we talk about here? Winter prep for flowers and beds.
How about pollinators?
Pollinators, very good. Yeah, because I've got not only honeybees down,
Yeah.
but mason bees. And
Yes.
I've actually talked to a few people this year that were kind of freaking out at these giant moths hitting their honeysuckles. And they fly literally like hummingbirds.
Yeah.
And I have video of
Yeah.
them too. So
Yeah. I have those at my house, and they're called some people aren't going to like this, but they're called a sphinx moth or
Yep.
hummingbird moth. And I'm pretty sure I'm right on this, but the larva for them is the tomato hornworm.
oh yes, a giant green worm that you find on your tomatoes.
that everybody hates, and
Yeah.
we kill them. And so maybe take a second thought before we all kill our tomato hornworms.
Yeah.
But they do. They love my 4 o'clocks. That's one of their plants that they need to survive is 4 o'clocks, and obviously tomatoes. But they're a good thing. They're a beneficial insect. And we need to think about protecting them. And I know there's been a lot of talk about protecting our pollinators and stuff, but any little bug is a potential pollinator, and again, they have a purpose.
Yeah, they work better than my
They
Q-tip. I know
They
that.
do. They do. So, in that leaving the leaves, leaving the straw, the pine needles, a friend of my mom actually had somebody come in and help her with her garden. And they came in and they did a really good job, but they cleaned every bit of leaf litter, everything out of her beds. And I said, Mom, what has happened? What have you done? She said, I know, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. But because like the things that reseed, like the 4 o'clocks, and the pollinators need those little stems and those little holes and all those little crevices to winter in, and they lay their eggs, and some monarchs, even they'll stay over the winter and then they'll come out in the spring. And so we've got to be really careful that we take care of our pollinators. And the honeybees are, of course, and they're I want to say cultivated, farmed, but they're kind of domesticated,
Yeah,
for lack of a better
that's
word.
the word I was getting ready
Yeah.
to come up with.
But then you've got the mason bees, and you've got bumblebees, and you have all of these different things that we need to continue our way of life, really. I mean, there's been so much research about the lack of all different kinds of pollinators. So if you can hold off on the seven dust, and
Yes.
I even
Yeah, the black swallowtail
yes,
butterflies are ones
my
that
gosh,
we
yes,
plant
yes,
dill and parsley specifically to bring those
Yes.
butterflies in.
yeah.
Because those worms will wipe it out in a heartbeat.
They do, yeah, and they'll just take over and clean it up. But dill is a huge one for so many different things. So
Okay.
I kind of have to bite my tongue a little bit because this year the grasshoppers were so bad, and I bought some seven dust, and then a friend came over. And I had to tell him, I haven't used it yet. I haven't used it yet. So I didn't, but I have chickens and ducks, and so they help with the grasshoppers and
Oh, I
stuff
bet.
too. So some natural enemies there.
Oh, okay. Well, we're out of time
Okay.
today.
Okay.
So we will see if we can't get you back so that we
Yeah,
can talk a lot more about this. I'd
absolutely.
like
I'd
to do
love
this
to.
once a month if
Yeah,
all possible.
yeah,
So
I'd love that.
thank you for joining
Yeah.
me today and getting this much needed information out to everyone. And we look forward to having you back.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. I've really enjoyed it. It's always exciting to talk about plants and
Nope.
dirt and worms and all the things.
I understand. I'm the same way about weather.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so let's